What's going on, guys? It's Mr. DEBT, Joe Lorick from the Money Etiquette Group, and today we're going to talk about church and money. We're going to get into how much people are giving in church. We're going to get into how much pastors are being paid. We're going to get into the real facts when it comes to churches and money and the communities, if they're giving back. We're going to get into it all, okay? Lately, we've been hearing a lot about pastors that make a lot of money, that live a luxurious life while the people in the pews suffer. We've been hearing about how the black community has been robbed by the churches. I want to get into the numbers, okay? I want to get past the facades. I want to get past the news headlines, and let's get straight to the numbers. So here they are. So the first thing we're going to deal with is who's giving money to the church. I'm talking about the people. How many people are actually giving money to the church every year, every week, every month? How many people are giving an offering? How many people are tithing? Let's get into the actual numbers. According to nonprofit sources, 2018 congregational giving study, only 10 to 25% of congregational members actually give. I'm talking about 10 to 25%, and we're talking about every week, every month, every single year givers. Only 10 to 25% of members give on a regular basis. And according to the same studies of those who give, they're only giving about 2.5% of their actual take-home income, not of their gross, of their net take-home income. Givers are only giving up 2.5% of their actual income, not 10%, not 15%, 20 to 25%. No, 2.5% of their actual income goes to givers. And remember, this is only 10 to 25% of the congregation, not everyone. Now let's get into pastors' pay, okay? The big topic, pastors' pay. According to 4 different sources, including the U.S. Bureau of Labor, pastors on average make between $40,000 and $48,000 per year. $48,000 coming from the labor statistics. Again, between $40,000 and $48,000 per year. In fact, if you go state by state, which some studies have done, it says that the highest average is about $42,000 in New York State, but on average, most are around $39,000 to $40,000 per year. So we're not talking 6 figures. We're not talking $50,000 a year. We're not even talking $70,000, $80,000 a year. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, there are 50,900 preachers out there, approximately 50,900 preachers as of 2018. So while we may hear about 4 or 5 megachurch preachers, there are 50,900, almost 51,000 preachers out there. Think about that. All right, those are all stats. I just gave out stats that I didn't create. These are all stats that are put out there that are official, okay? But let's deal with one more stat, and this is important. No one knows, because it's not a requirement, how much churches are really worth in terms of how much money they're holding. We know that there's an estimate for the Catholic Church that's like 30 billion to 100 billion. Look, no one really knows congregation to congregation, church to church, based on how many congregations come together to make one organization and all. We don't know. It's not flat. All congregations don't make the same amount of money. All church groups don't work together. Some work together in big groups, small groups. We don't know how much each one is worth. It's not a requirement. But what I will tell you is this. When it comes to the black church is a reflection of black people and the black economics, okay? So if you believe that most black churches are holding 1,100,000, 200,000, while most black people are barely holding $200 in their account, you are mistaken. Again, remember the stat. Most people don't even give. And while you do have a few mega churches, I'm not denying that, most black churches are actually pretty broke. Lastly, here's the biggest fact about churches, church money, preachers, everything, okay? Here's something. Listen closely, okay? You're going to want to hear this. If you didn't know, people who are in the church and people who are outside of the church, human beings, 90% of them are money lovers and money hungry. That means that churches, whether it's the pastor, the pastor's wife, elders, deacons, people in the pews, white, black, Hispanic, there are people who love money more than people in churches. Guess what? It's the same outside of the church. You're always going to have people that are money greedy, that take more than what they should. That is a part of dealing with any organization of people. It happens in business. It happens in your family. It happens in households. It happens in communities. It happens in the churches too. It happens in the mosque. It happens in the synagogue. I don't care. When you have people that come together, there will always be people who are lovers of money, that are greedy, that will take advantage, that will mishandle money, that will personally just increase their own personal wealth above others. There are people that do that, and it's your responsibility to call out those individuals by name. Let's stop in 2019 grouping everyone together as one group. No, if you want to talk about a preacher, or you believe that there's a church where a preacher's taking advantage of the congregation, call out that preacher by name. Stop just saying the preachers of all churches, because I can tell you, based on the stats, based on the real numbers, preachers aren't making that much money. Based on the real numbers, preachers are not taking that much money. Based on the real numbers, people not giving on that level. People are not giving 10 to 15 to 20% of their income. You might have 2 or 3 grandmothers out there that's been a member of the church for their lifetime and they are at that level, but most people don't give on that level. The stats back that up. And let's stop looking at just the church, because again, like I said, all organizations, they have people within it that do it. But if you know someone that's doing it, get away from get away from broad speaking and broad stroking all people in the church and ministers and preachers. I don't care what organization it is. Call them out by name. So what do you guys think? Do you think that the church and religious organizations altogether are robbing the community? Do you feel like preachers are being paid too much money and they're robbing their congregations? Do you feel that, overall it's just a big scam? Or do you feel like it's good? Do you feel like, look, your preacher gives and does the right thing? Tell me and be specific. In fact, don't speak about the church in general. Call out the congregations, call out the ministers, call out the preachers if they're doing good or bad. Let's hear about what's really happening in the streets. And don't forget, share this, because I want as many people as possible to be a part of this conversation. That way we can have as much context as possible. And also like, comment, put your piece in there. I want to hear from you. Let me know what you think.